America, I'm going to stop telling you things, describing things, and I'm going to eat my dinner because I've run out of patience. I'm running out of patience with the phone, the camera, and I mean, I laid in my parking lot for almost an hour today. And I've given up. I've more or less realized that I'm going to die soon and that I'm going to be paralyzed soon. And a man came in and my neighbors walked by and they said, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah," you know, because that's what I say, because the doctors here long ago told me I was crazy, and a skin galvanic test is not going to, I like to put a little Tabasco. So the neurologist shined me on as a nut. They did a seizure test on me. I told them I wasn't having seizures. They let me lay in front of Riverbend Hospital having a spasm for 45 minutes. And a dentist watched over me, a security guard there. I just gave up. And this man came up and he said, "We need to get you some help." So I'm going to try to zoom in on this. If it doesn't work, peace out. I'm going to load all this stuff and eventually you'll hear this. And yeah. My horoscope said it's time to start working on myself, and I started working on myself more. But at this point, I just want to leave something. I just want to leave something behind, okay? Because I don't know when I'm going to have another attack like today, and I'm not going to get up. And let Jesus walk with me. He walked with me all the time. Woo! Glory. So here's our Zoom Up America. Chef John, the Ghetto Gourmet America. Thor, let me explain a little something about Thor, if it stays with us. So I took Momo down to the coast because Momo was freaking out. Momo was like ready to kill herself, and she wanted me to take her to the place. We were riding on my bike. And she wanted me to take her to the last place she saw her kids, her brothers. And there was like a lot of bad stuff in her family. I mean, when mom don't believe you that... Alright, I'm not using her real name, alright? I won't use it in my book either. That grandpa's doing something and da-da-da. So she got told to leave town by gypsy jokers up in Portland because she was dating two guys in separate families, right? And Momo was my friend, right? And she had been my friend when I needed her. So I was there for her. And we went down to the coast. And she went out for a walk. And she wound up sitting down right in front of the church that I used to go to. Pentecostal church. Remember that one man I told you was my friend? That church, right next to my old home. And, because I found it, well anyways, and so I took her to the beach, right? I was trying to explain God's love, alright? Well, this is not an easy thing to explain to an adult, it really isn't, especially a gangster adult, right? Especially a lost girl, right? But this was my friend, and I really wanted to tell her something, right? Now, she knew that I was different than any woman who's been around me, any person who's been around me for some time knows that I'm different than anybody they'll ever meet. And because I'm highly motivated by one... I'm highly motivated by one thing alone. And that's love. And, but it became a progression of learning. I love this song. If you've seen the movie The Power of One, when they're running together, the two sides, the two friends, everything's right in his life, you understand why I love this song. So I take her to the beach, right? And we're up in the sand dunes, and she's in that moment of vulnerability. She's in that moment of, if she wants to talk to something larger than herself, or talk to me, because I'm kind of larger to life in the underground, Because brother just walked with like heart and love the whole time, right? I gave everything up to do peace up, including my family, alright? Including my son and my daughter. I didn't think it would do that, but that's what happened, right? And lived with them. But nonetheless, so we're up on this, we're up on the beach, right? And, yeah, I can let my dinner cool a little. And we're up on the beach, and I take her on the dunes in Florence. Now, the dunes in Florence is a very powerful place for me, because that's on the North Jetty is when I was talked to, right? 13 years ago, when I became my spiritual path, when I was called forward, as Gideon was called forward, and I laid the fleece out. I told you before, God calls me John. And, Zumba hey, Zumba hey, Zumba hey, Zumba hey, Zumba hey, Zumba hey. So there's sand all everywhere on the beach, right? Now, in Florence, there's huge dunes that go all the way down to Coos Bay. I mean, dunes that are like 2 and 3 stories high, and they're like a half-mile wide from the water to in. And I pick up some sand, right? And I shake it out, and until there's granules. And I said, see this grain of sand? See this one grain of sand? I said, see, your regular human and their entire life, their entire makeup of their love can be measured by this grain of sand. This is your average human being. They have children, they get married, they love their mom and dad, they love their kids, they love their brothers. Your average human being, one that's not gone through the mill like a lot of us have, gone through the insurgent drug war, whatever you want to call it. Ones who've been addicts, ones who've lost their way, prison, all that, right? This is a regular person, right? I said, now, this is our whole lifetime, this granule. I said, well, God's love, Allah's love, Brahma's love, Buddha's love, the love of something greater than all of us that we can really name, even though He's come to us by many names, including Jesus. Right? And Jesus be the word that I speak. But God's love is like every single grain of sand, every moment of your life. That's how grand God's love is. That's how huge His love is. And not just on this beach, but on every beach, on every world. On this world. On every world. Might as well say that. In every granule. That's the massiveness of God's love. And that's a way of explaining. That's like the number Google. I mean, 1 with 100 zeros, you know? How big is that number? Woo! So then I would pick up a handful of sand, right? And say, this is how much love Thor is going to give in his whole life. I chose to do something. And in my leathered hand, I would hold a pile of sand. And then I'd turn to her and open her hand and poured some sand in and had her close her hand. I said, now that much of it I just gave to you, so you can make it through what you're going through. Alright? That's why I've been sent here, to carry a big handful of sand and pour it into the hands of those who need it. Alright? Peace and grace, blessings to you. I love you, America. Peace up. Chef John the Ghetto Gourmet, a.k.a. Thor. All my stories are true.